big up, and welcome to the Liberal 12th Man Show. Big up to Baz in the house. I see you there early. That's what I appreciate. Definitely big, much love. And also, we're here to not just break down some news. We're going to break it down specifically for those Reds out there that want to hear the inside dirt or just want to hear another perspective that comes from outside of some of the talking points or even echo chambers that are sometimes present, but all the same. We have usually a very, almost always have a diverse panel. We certainly have a very diverse group of people that join us in the chat, and they are those that make up the most important part of our show, because without them, we would not be a channel. It would just be me just talking to myself. So I really appreciate you guys being here, and let's get into this Friday the 13th edition of basically the Premier League's worst nightmare, Wirtz nightmare. It is official that we have signed possibly one of the most coveted players in Europe at our current status. Definitely shout out to all my Reds out there. Big up Norm, big up Baz again. And tonight, like I said, it's Friday the 13th for a reason, because the rest of the league has done nothing but show crazy comments trying to bring down the actual presence and absolute status of this player, what he's accomplished in Germany, what he's done for his national team. They've tried to, rank him or rate him towards a player that isn't even I think it's only had like 2, maybe 3 caps for their national team, whereas this player has been playing professionally since the age of 17. Shout out JP, good to see you, big up to you. And yeah, it's something. I guess you could say this isn't just a transfer for us. This is a statement. It's like a major statement. It's a power shift in the sense of, here we are, I don't know if you ever ran track or whatever, but, there's those that when you're running around, there's some athletes that just have that extra gear, and it's like, I'm glad to see that maybe our club is shifting into that extra gear to separate us even further from our opposition. And it's a major point to say. Make sure you're hearing. Hopefully you can hear me well. Let me make sure my mic's there for you. But again, the word steal isn't the only major storyline out there. We've got Lucho's Barcelona flirtation. We've also got Inácio links. We've got a whole string of outs and incomings that should be, I think, some are fire, some are definitely a bucket of water. But all the same, some of them are really good to see us do. Big up, Baz. Thank you very much. Also, I'm going to shoot you the link, Baz, if you like. You can join me if you have time to talk about some of these topics. Let me make sure I get this ready for you. But let me also start off by saying, I say, as always, let's get into it. So let me get this out also to Baz, my brother. If you can, cool. If you can't, if you want to just chill chill on whether you're watching this on YouTube or now that I've expanded the parameter, now we're on X as well. So you might be joining us or listening to us on X. Big up to you. This is the first transmission over the X platform. So I hope that it serves us well and continues to grow our ranks. So we'll see. We'll certainly see. But let me get into this and let me bring it down for you. All right. So I made myself very small right there. I am going to bring up. I hope I have a picture of Wirtz. I know I do. But yeah, make it like that. Okay. Let's rewind to Friday, May 23rd. While we're prepping for one of the most magical weekends in Liverpool modern era, the Premier League title lift, LFC Foundation Gala. He had Klopp's, Klopp on this, speaking his words of encouragement for Trent, who was leaving the club. We had the parade about to unveil and everything else. Florian was hold on one second, sorry. Florian was making a decision that would reshape the European football map. He had three options, basically. Stay loyal to a dismantled Leverkusen squad. I mean, they'd seen their coach leave. We'd already plucked one of their most talented players in Frimpong from their team. Excuse me. And now it was the second option: join the Bayern Munich machine, which is one of the most hated rivals amongst almost the entire league of Germany, considering that they are a team that considerably utilizes the entire league as if it's a test pattern for its players to find out which players is going to pluck from all teams, and it also is something that not many Leverkusen fans wanted to see. And then the third became just another cog or bet on himself. One that he could say, you know what? I'm not going to go to Bayern Munich. I'm not going to stay with my club Leverkusen that have chosen to basically cash in on the opportunities. What it was is an opportunity for this player to move forward with his career, move forward with the signature platform that he could utilize in Leverkusen, leaving Leverkusen and joining Liverpool. So credit where it's due. Wirtz's decision was calculated, principled, and as ruthless at his play. His family deeply involved in every career move. You could tell his father was out there pushing, telling people Liverpool is the team he wants. They were poorly irritated by Bayern's media arrogance, I think, which was very, very notable. Bayern, just rather than put any real work into it, just assumed that he would go to their team simply because they're Bayern Munich of Germany. Behind closed doors, you had Richard Hughes, who got to work. A lot of people were very much against Richard Hughes in the sense of thinking that he was a bad move, that he didn't know anything because he was from Bournemouth. And trust me, I know those out there. I have the receipts of you guys saying that. Not any in the chat, and certainly not any that are with other attributes of our community. But certainly some that are content creators. I do have receipts on you. But anyway, Richard's got to work, 109 million. Then bid after bid after bid, and Leverkusen kept moving the goalpost. Closer and closer we got. Eventually the deal was struck, 100 million plus 16 in add-ons. And now Wirtz becomes Liverpool's most expensive signing ever. Becomes England's most expensive signing ever. But more than that, he's the poster boy of the slot era. Now going forward, an elite playmaker, a statement of dominance. Bayern blinked, City bailed, Madrid got outplayed, and Liverpool, we got our guy. So, big up Baz for joining us. Big up to those names in the chat too that are new to the chat, by the way. Shout out to Catalan. I think that's what it says, right? Catalan number 94. Shout out to everyone that's joining us. By far, definitely much love. And Baz has joined us on our panel here. Baz, how you feeling today?
Yeah, big up 12th man. Big up everybody in the chat. I'm feeling great. It's a Friday 13th, but it's brought some luck. by hearing that we finally agreed a deal. It can put some of these guys that were unsure and a little bit PTSD'd, included me, a chance to relax now. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
Okay. What's that song? And I'm feeling good. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Isn't that right? You got to need to
That's
have
the
that
one.
music in the background. I think we all are, to tell you the truth, because there were some of us that were getting very, very nervous. Maybe the better word for it could be anxious. And some of us are just getting frustrated, I think. There's those of us that know how these situations tend to play out. It's not cut and dry. It's not like you get an answer immediately, like it's like FIFA or something, and I'll say this, and I'm going to ask you with all due respect, because I don't think this, but I'm asking this. Let's put it that way. Did Wirtz just become the most important Liverpool signing since Virgil van Dijk? I'm asking that to you about Baz.
I'm thinking that's a very, very good question. I think we definitely needed a number 10 and a good number 10 at that, especially the way we play now. So yeah, I mean, look, Virgil van Dijk was probably the best defender available at the time, and we managed to get him, and he has been vitally important for Liverpool for so many years. So I don't see the difference with Wirtz, to be honest with you. I think, it has become very important, because when you look at people like Salah, who's been just constantly just making the goals, supplying the goals, doing all this over the years, you do need someone to help him. You know what I mean? Like, obviously he's getting to an age where he will eventually slow down. It doesn't look it, but the law of average on the body is, you will slow down at some point. And to bring in a fresh, young, superstar like him into this team, it's definitely going to give us, if he signs that 5-year deal, it'll give us 5 years, hopefully, and possibly more of creativity, goals, assists, pretty much what Salah does. And if we can keep him fresh by bringing in a gunman as well to help him, honestly, this team is going to be so different. It's going to be pretty much like how we had, the little taster with Coutinho, Firmino, Salah, Mane. We were just dripping in sauce, bruvs, back then. And it just feels like that now. So, yeah, I think he is going to be very important to what we are, and just as equal as Van Dijk.
Okay. I was just about to tell Lee, if you are going to put Edwards, you have to then just answer D, because Edwards is now a part of the FSG, hierarchy. He's been given a part of ownership in FSG. So at least I believe certainly for the Liverpool portion of it. So yeah, I'd love to see what you guys are saying. Okay, Lee saying D. Okay, got you. I put in a poll real quick as well. I put this in. What would be your answer to this one, Baz? The question is, who deserves the most credit for the Wirtz signing? Richard Hughes, Arnie Slot, Wirtz and family, or is it just FSG's long-term discipline to know when was the right time to finally pull the trigger on this £100 million deal?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think, to be fair, I mean, I couldn't singly pick a person, because they are all equally involved in all of this. From obviously Richard Hughes just keeping quiet, not showing his cards early on, We thought, boy, is this guy actually going to bring in any player? Then you've got obviously someone like, the FSG, the owners, we've been talking that these guys don't spend money. They are shrewd businessmen. There have been people over the years backing them and not backing them, explain their credentials as owners, that they're great business people. So, they probably thought it was time now. Then you've got obviously Arne Slot, who is, who's just come in and just won the title and spent nothing and said, "You're right, listen, what we'll do is we'll win the title with what we've got right now, but we're definitely going to need, to bring in some quality in the summer." And I think that's what's happened. So I can't personally pick, one out of all of these people. I think they all have something to, all parts to play in this. Like I said, FSG's, spending the money. Arne Slot to win the title and have the tactics and the ideas to bring this guy in. And talking to him, say, "Yo, this is what we're going to do. You're going to be number 10 or whatever he's planning on doing." And Richard Hughes for obviously talking to him and talking to him and saying, "Yo, you're just showing the love in it," because it's not been a while, but when you look at it every day, we've been talking about Wirtz for the last few weeks since the couple of weeks since the Premiership has stopped. But we showed the love and we showed the interest. What I mean? We didn't go down after the first bid. Pause. 2.
Yeah.
And then 3, the third time. Third time lucky sort of thing, if that's what it is. Right. And we've got him. So I'm happy. And like I said, I can't pick one of them. I think it's all, you got to give them all credit, to be fair.
Okay. Big up Hyler, big up Kingsman, big up to KJ, big up the Unbearables 2025. Okay, I see you out there. Big up to all of you in the chat. Trudon, big up to Norm, Mtar Mizzi. Big up to Mtar Mizzi, by the way. He helped shape some of or the direction of the title of this episode. I'll explain why I had to make a little bit of an edit to the original title that you gave, but I'll send it to you in Twitter in a little bit. Shout out to let's see, shout out to Lee, obviously, and everything else. Shout out to Jimmy, by the way, too. And those that are just chilling, listening to us, like I said, either via Twitter or via YouTube, big up to every last one of you, especially if you're a red, if you're a rival, or maybe a neutral, or maybe just someone that, is new to the game. Appreciate your support and appreciate you being here as well. This is a community that is very, very inclusive. We don't necessarily try to measure our words against each other. Okay, we can have debates, but let's not take it too far, just so you know. All right, but I'm saying that between me and Baz and I have had a couple back and forths as well. So but it's all, at the end of the day, we both know that we're both Reds and we all got love for each other. So
100%, 100.
So let me do this one thing. Let me send. I think. All right, make sure he gets that too. All right, so I have some things I want to include the chat on this too as well, because I wanted to get your real interpretation, your vote, I guess, or your opinion as to what you feel would be basically the best place for him to play now that he's going to be a part of this team, and that is Florian Wirtz. So I have a couple of, I saw on BBC, they had some interesting stats that really, really made it interesting to see what we should expect. All right. And let me bring up this first. So originally they had it as like, the big question is now, do you play him as a 10 or do you play him as a false 9? That is the big question. I know a lot of us have seen or want to see him as a 10. I've been kind of trying to buck that trend, I guess, and have been putting it out there that I believe we're going to, it's not going to necessarily be. It's going to be like a hybrid 10, I think personally, because I think that he'll have the duties of a false 9, but I believe that he'll also be incorporated to do the structure of a 10 in being a facilitator in the likes. So and not being just the sole number 9 for us. But I could be wrong. I'm just taking I like to get play with the tactics, I guess you could say, and roll with them. But I'm going to show you something that I saw from the BBC, and it was a very interesting statistic, or at least stats as well. And that is, they showed, does Wirtz play in the midfield? And they showed the stats of, this is just comparison-wise of what you're looking at from, for some reason they put Núñez and Diego in this. And they showed how and what they're incorporating. You can see something is very interesting, by the way. You can see shot conversion, 12%. Shot conversion for Núñez, 15%. They're not exactly the greatest of shot conversions, but then again, it's very interesting because there's those out there that talk a lot of mess on Núñez's name, yet most will say that Diego is certainly a gunman and very clinical when it comes to his shooting. The stats don't say as such, at least that over Núñez, but possession won in the final third, goals, big chances created, assists, numbers very, very similar in itself when it comes to Núñez. Now, what it was also is this. Now, we spoke on the false 9 perspective, and this is what it's looking like when you bring all 3 of them together. So, all 3 of them, you can see Núñez. This is Lucho's, where you bring Lucho into the format too. You see that Lucho's got an 18% shot conversion, 15% to Núñez, 12 to Diego. But the big thing you see, there's a huge difference. The possession won in the final third. One of the major reasons why I believe that we saw Diaz play such a increased role as our number 9 is that exact stat right there. Possession won in the final third, 22%. That is huge when it comes to the difference of one of the major attributes a player that's going to play our false 9 has to have. For you, Baz, I'm going to bring us back into this. For you, Baz, what role do you see him playing? And tell us what your role in the chat. Please tell us what you believe would be Wirtz's role in a Liverpool team. And if you can, tell me what formation you want to see him playing that in, at least.
Yeah. Those are interesting facts. You know what though? I mean, all right. I'll bring my own touch on it. So how I see Wirtz, I think he's an attacking midfielder. For me, he's best in an attacking midfield, a cam role. That's what I think personally. I think his passing is good. I think his dribbling is good. I think he can play. He's versatile. Can play on the left. Can play as that false 9.
Okay.
But I think his biggest attribute is his dribbling. You know, he's like a Coutinho. He can go past. He's got some great passing. His vision is really, really good as well. He's got scoring threats. Again, for an attacking midfielder, he's got everything. And I think personally, you buy somebody like this, you've got to play him in where he's strong. And he's strong in all these roles. But personally, you know, I would like to see him play as a attacking midfielder because, you know, he's able to do what Diaz does, you know, in a sense of he can carry the ball with good dribbling. He's hardworking as well. He can draw fouls into the edge of the box and stuff like that. And, you know, if rumors are true, that Slot is also looking for a striker, then really and truly, I don't think his role is a false 9. I think we probably might be going away from the false 9 and potentially bringing in someone that will score goals. And I think Wirtz will be better in that cam role, a bit like what you've seen, Szoboszlai play in The difference is you'll have a bigger upgrade in the sense of, you know, he's a better dribbler, he's a better passer, he's got great finish. I'm not saying Szoboszlai doesn't, because he does. He ain't afraid. You know what I mean? At this young age, he ain't afraid to like get shots off and, you know, and do all this. And he gets stuck in as well, and he's a good presser as well. So he's everything. And I think for me personally, I'd like to see him play in that cam role, that central role behind the striker. You know, potentially having one guy up front, whoever that will be in terms of a striker, and having him, Salah, and maybe Diaz if he stays, or whichever. That is like incredible sauce that you're going to get for that striker, you know, to put the ball in the back of the net. You know, we've seen what Salah does already, you know, in terms of send goals and stuff like that. Wirtz can do the same. Diaz, obviously, you know, ball carrying. I've always said this. I might have my views on Diaz, yeah. Now, I've never said he's absolutely, you know, like he's shit or anything. But the thing with him has always been his end product needed to improve. And to be fair, it has improved this season compared to, you know, the others, you know. But I've always said this guy can carry the ball and can get fouled. And he's got that South American, like, you know what? I'm not going to be bullied on the ball. You know what I mean? Like, you know, try to chop me down and stuff, but I'll keep that ball and I'll bring it into your box. And he's done that. And, you know, if we lose someone like that, then I would be concerned, you know. But Wirtz can do that. And I think he can do it, like, you know, in the final third. And his pressing in the final third is great. So I think I would like to see him playing in a cam role. And I think he probably will be playing in a cam role.
I'll ask you this then, chat. I'll ask you this. Since basically Baz is saying that he wants to see him as a 10, which is another way of saying cam role, basically. Center attacking mid. Who would you rather see in the center attacking mid role? Would you rather, or as our 10, would you rather see Damas Szoboszlai? Would you rather see Maka, or would you rather see Florian Wirtz? Who would you rather see? Of those three options, those are three options that are most likely to play our 10. I understand that Curtis Jones has or could play a 10 role for us. I don't really see that happening. I get you could throw in Harvey as well into that role, okay? If he's still with our team, you can bring him that way too. But I'd like to know, who would you rather see in that role? Would you rather see, if you want to throw Harvey, it's cool. So I'm going to give the selections again. It's either Wirtz, it's either Maka, Dom, or even a shout for Harvey. How about that? Who would you rather see? Who would you rather see? Please tell me in the chat, and I'll definitely include your answer in the conversation. We have the Irishman joining us right now too. Shout out to the Irishman. How are you doing? I know Brian was just had a really interesting and great episode just earlier. One of the topics we're going to talk about. So hopefully he isn't spent on discussing that topic. But how are you doing today, Brian?
Oh, good. Yeah, good. I sent Bernie the link. I'll just see. She was in and she was out. She just came back before we had to go out. I didn't know you were live. When someone pointed out you're live, I just told everybody to stop watching our nonsense and come straight on over here.
Oh, you guys were on there for a hot minute. I know. I had you guys on in the background. I wasn't able to join in the conversation, but I had you on in the background. Guys were definitely going for a hot minute there.
It's always
we have people. Baz was there. It's good when people come in and out. It's
I saw that. K-Mac was there. I saw obviously Bernie was there. Dara was there. I saw Baz was there. Yeah, there's a lot of good people. Rev was there. Rev Knight was with you for a little bit.
Yeah, we don't expect people. Like I said, it's always a call and it's always open. But that's open like for the people. Like there was someone in earlier. AJ just come in for like 2 minutes and just make 1 point, and you know, I know the show goes on for a long time, but anybody that ever wants to come and just say something for 2 minutes and then leave again, it's for that as well, you know, like so. But that's what kind of steers it along. We had someone like AJ was in today. He was only in for 2 or 3 minutes, made his point about something, and then he left. You don't have to stay in for the whole show, but it'll always be open when he wants
He
to
picked
join.
up the mic, said what he had to do, and then just dropped it and rolled, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Lee, JK just put it in the group chat, so if you want to just check there, you'll see the link. We're doing so. Tell me though, people, I'm trying to get an answer. I know some people sometimes think that I do the most political version of answering questions sometimes. Who is your number 10 out of those? I'll put it in the chat for you too. So we have Wirtz, we have Elliot, we have Dom, and we have Wirtz, Dom, Elliot. Who am I missing? Wirtz, and
Jones. I think he had Jones in earlier on.
Yeah, I'm not putting Jones in at the 10. He's I think Jones is no. But let me bring this in. And I'm gonna put it in there for you guys right now. Who's your future number 10? Who is your future number 10? So McAllister is Unbearable's number 10 for now. 2 or 3 years from now, he sees it as Wirtz to Wirtz to number 10. All right. Make sure everyone sees the question at least. Hyler says he has watched and craved Florian Wirtz for 4 years, and the best way to describe him is that he makes everyone else better. A knife through butter is in creativity and movement. Bonker says he knows Jones can do the 8 and 10. He can even do the 6. And apparently he can even play right back. So
Tommy 2 times.
What's that? What did you say, Brian?
Tommy 2 times. Yeah. Tommy 2 times. Yeah.
He's played it for us once too. He has played it. He has played right back for us. He's played right back.
Everton and Fulham. Worked against Everton, didn't work against Fulham.
No, it did not. It was pretty miserable against Fulham.
Who was this Curtis Jones we're talking about?
Yes. In his right back iteration.
He's even played for England. The last game before last, he started as a right back. I think he's capable of doing it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I would like to see Wirtz there personally. I think when you buy a player with all those qualities, and he's strong in a certain position, I think if it's not broken, you don't fix it in it, and you play him where he's gonna bring the numbers. I think in games sometimes you may have to try to you have to adapt in games, in it. Sometimes he might have to go play on the left, he might have to play in the 8, but where he's good at is the 10 in my opinion, and I think that's where he should personally play.
That's where we want him ideally, isn't it, in the 10? But if he plays on the left, he's another possibility there, isn't he? So him and Sobbers like him both play. And then a striker in front of them, obviously. We can use him a few different ways, can't we? Probably, conceivably, you can use him in a few different ways, couldn't we? It should be good. So link up with the players that we've already got. I haven't been this excited about a signing in years. Can't remember one of this magnitude in recent living memory. It's like a crazy one, isn't it?
Let me see. Well, I guess Unbearables is the only one out there that is willing to step up and say who's their number 10, apparently. I haven't gotten a real answer. Who's your number 10? We can go to the panel, too. The panel can give their answers as well. I was waiting for the chat to chime in. I wasn't addressing that to the panel. But to the panel, I'll bring it to you. Lee, who's your number 10?
Wirtz.
Wirtz is your number 10. Okay. How about for you, Baz?
Wirtz all day long.
Oh, okay. Okay. Brian? That is considering we play a 4-2-3-1, obviously. That would be what it'd be.
Yeah, not even a question.
Wirtz, I assume then is
Yeah.
what you're getting at? Okay.
Sorry, Dom. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If we play
I
with a
might
10,
sound like I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish your
Yeah.
thing.
No, if we play with a 10, if it's been him and Dom, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Dom. Yeah.
You know what,
I
12?
might
Quickly.
yeah, go ahead, Tish. Go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly. I mean, you know what's important as well, 12, yeah, right? I mean, like, Dom can play in that 10 as well, which is a good shout. And even McAllister. But, you know, it's good to have, like, options. You know, you can potentially start, like, plan A. You'll start with Wirtz in a 10 and stuff like that. And you know what? I'm not saying Wirtz is going to have, like, 60-odd games where he's going to be 10 out of 10. There might be games where he might not be able to do something, and then you've got someone like a Szoboszlai who can play as a 10, but with a bit more energy or something like that, or, someone's going to run a bit more. It's good to have like a squad of options, you know what I mean, in that role, because that role is going to be very important. That's a role that creates, that assists our strikers, that runs back, that takes the what do you call it? The pressing from the front, like we used to back in the day with Firmino and Mane and Salah and stuff. And, it's good to have the option, and it's about building a squad to dominate. And I think that, it's a good option. And I think McAllister, obviously Szoboszlai, Wirtz, I haven't disrespected Elliot, but not mentioning him. It's only because, like, I think this guy potentially may be the one that moves on. But he can play a role, because even Harvey Elliott, that's come on like in a few games in last season, was probably the one that does the most advanced passes. So there's options there.
Yeah, I really like McAllister in that position, just on the edge of the box with his shooting.
I know, that's me.
We haven't seen it that much, have we? Like McAllister in the 10 for us.
Exactly. I guess I'm gonna sound a little bit different, but I want to see Maka in that 10 role. I really would like to see Maka in that 10 role. I think Maka provides us the defense. He obviously is well versed in his defense. Be great to have his offensive skill sets a little bit further forward, with the options of being a facilitator as well. We all know that he can do that as well. And I honestly think that him in our midfield is a real difference maker in our midfield. I think he's a real maestro for our midfield. And I think that what it could do and open up is allow for Wirtz to not only play a false 9 for us, which I think is going to be, again, I said how it's going to be, or at least my opinion is going to be like maybe like a little bit of a false 10, if you want to call it that, I guess, but more so a false 9 where he's able to maybe cheat a little bit and be able to get some poacher style goals, maybe even so.
12. You're 100% right. And you know what? I said like a couple of seasons ago, like it's having a Rottweiler chained up when it comes to McAllister being in the 6. I didn't like that idea. But you know what? He's been brilliant over the last couple of years, playing in more of an 8 and a 6 role. However, he's absolutely perfect for that 10 role. But you know what the problem is? The problem is we're gonna need to get. We're gonna need to have. Yeah, well, there's that as well, Brian. But there's also that if you let McAllister play a bit more advanced, you lose that defensive side, and he can defend. But what will happen is we'll need to go and buy.
Here's my answer to you, Baz, real quick. You bring Dom back as that as that pivot along with Graf. Now you have the two most athletic, possibly the two fastest, if not the two most athletic players playing in that in that sixth, that central DM role of that pivot, and either one could go forward as long as one covers, obviously.
That's a good shout, 12. But you know the issue that I've had with Szoboszlai is his short passing hasn't been great. And when you're going to go in there with the energy, and that it's good, it's important. You go in with energy and get the ball tackled and stuff like that. But your 5-yard passing has to be on point. And McAllister's got a great pass on him, so that is the only thing that I think he may struggle in. And that's why I never even mentioned McAllister in a role as a 10 with someone like Wirtz. For me, Wirtz, like I said, needs to be in the 10. But if you're going to have someone with him, like have a advanced, like, I don't know, 2 10s and 1 striker, for example, to McAllister is the perfect one. But I just think that, potentially you may have to cover that role,
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, no, finish your thought. I'm sorry. Wait, let him finish his thought, then you can try.
Yeah, sorry. Just quickly, I think then you're going to need to have a destroyer. You definitely need to have a destroyer that can just like get the ball, play it simply, and then get these guys to fire. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to
remember Jürgen said he used Grandich in the wrong way. He admitted that, didn't he? Like after he'd gone.
Yeah. As an 8. Basically.
Yeah, we didn't see him as the 6 because McAllister started last season, didn't he?
That's because Klopp wasn't watching our show, apparently. That's why all jokes. All love the Klopp, of course. Yeah. What about this real quick then? Wait, Brian, you trying to say something? No?
No, I just mean
say it.
Last year, he's called it the way he sees it, right? He called it the way it's working for him, right? Last year, Mac in grabbing the 6, Mac in the 8, Dom in the 10. Well, we did that. We ended up in a 4-2-4 a lot of times at 3 at the back and all that. But that was your main kind of Dom. Grav was holding, Mac in the middle, and Dom one further forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd always wanted to see McAllister one further forward in the 10 because I've seen what he done for Brighton. But I always realized he was probably better in that 8 role for us because he can play 6, 8, and 10. I think he's probably best as an 8. But in a smaller team like Brighton, he was an incredible number 10. But the thing is, as soon as you bring in a player like Florian Wirtz, that just ends that conversation. That's his best position, is the number 10. He can play false 9. He can play off the left. But if you want to bring him in for that money and get the best out of him, you play him as a number 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can play him off, like I say, off the left. I can see him playing false 9 for us, like you were saying, like with a couple, like a kind of 2 false 10s and this kind of stuff as well. That can be happening. Gakpo off the left, Salah off the right. Wirtz and Dom or Mac through the middle. Brilliant, awesome.
Right. That's what I envision more. So
yeah, that's real. It's especially if we don't buy a striker, that's definitely going to happen. Like if we don't sign a Núñez / Jota replacement, you will 100% be seen. Like that's people saying, is Wirtz going to be a 9, false 9? It's like he'll be a false 9 if we don't sign a striker. If we sign a striker, he'll be a number 10. But we want him to play that number 10, that left, that just to the Coutinho space, because that's where he's world class. He can be good in a false 9, but we won't get the best out of him there. So it's massively dependent on what we do up front as well. But we can see a lot of him and Dom, Mac going through the middle. But as soon as you ask a number 10 conversation with this guy now, he trumps everybody. This guy he's going to show some of our fans what we've been missing. We haven't seen technique and talent like this since Suarez, Coutinho. We've been missing. A club like us, we deserve to have these kind of players that are not just going to make a difference, but also entertain the fans and make other fans of other clubs jealous, genuinely jealous, that they start making shitty videos about how Sharky is better than him if you look at his numbers per minute in La Liga, this kind of copium, that kind of stuff. we've signed one of the most in-demand young attacking talents that's been available on the market for 5-6 years. I was asking people earlier on, name the last time you were this excited about a player. This good a player. When's the last time a player this good joined Liverpool?
Oh, well.
People were struggling to come up with an answer.
I would have said Thiago, but
no, I mean, sorry, but in terms of kind of with their as a kind of a profile with their kind of career, yeah, no, that's a shout.
I'm just giving my answer. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of in terms of like a guy said, wow, this guy's going to come here and we're going to be amazing, like maybe Torres or something. This guy is just, we haven't signed. Basically, the consensus was we could all come up with a player or two, but we haven't signed a player like this in a long time. Someone who is this good.
There's
wanted.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted him. Madrid wanted him. Man City wanted him. Bayern Munich wanted him. And we pulled some voodoo magic, and he's just like, no, Liverpool is the place to be. It's the place to go. Ekitike, Isak, all these boys out there, this is the place to be. If you want to make a decision, this is where you want to go. Sending messages, sending signals out.
Let me ask Jake.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that it's just run very, the club's been run very brilliantly over the last couple of years, and that's what's made these guys want to come.
Watch yourself. You might get clipped up saying that.
No, I didn't say ownership.
You got to remember, JK's a part of the panel now. You might get knocked out.
I didn't say anything about ownership. I said run well. Probably that could be a manager.
Okay. All right. JK is joining us as well. Big up. Welcome to the show, my brother.
That's right.
There's a question in the chat. I was gonna, since we're about to come to the end of this segment, I'll just let you answer this one single question. If Slot changed up to play a diamond formation, who would you start in that formation?
Ooh. Meaning
a diamond midfield. So it'd be obviously like a 10 and a 6 and have a right and a left mid.
Yeah.
Maybe even a right center mid and a left center mid, possibly, so that you can allow for the fullbacks to overlap.
Yeah. Look, for me, it would be the three we've had. Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and McAllister, and then with the Wirtz in front of them. But if we can get Tchouaméni in, then I'd put Szoboszlai to the side and bring him in with Gravenberch, McAllister, and with Wirtz in front of them, bro. And bless up KJ and everyone else in the chat. Good to see you, man. Yeah, that's how I'd play it, bro. I want our midfield to have steel. One, it helps the attack, and two, it helps the defense. And I think we let in 40 goals last season. Hence why, for me, Gravenberch's best young player of the season. But I think if he had a helping hand in there, he'll be even better. So I love to get a DM in, Tchouaméni or someone who could just, even a Stiller, bro. I know that Real Madrid were looking at him and stuff, but imagine we just had a little pit bull in there with the Wirtz and a McAllister, bro. McAllister for me has put a shift in the last 2 seasons. The side of his game that he's not really doing at Brighton. At Brighton, he's more of an attacking influence, and at Liverpool, he's been more of a midfield battler. And I think if you put an DM in there with Gravenberch, or give him and Wirtz the opportunity to do what they got to do.
Yeah, if you look at this chart real quick, if you look at this chart, you're seeing surprisingly defensive duels won. He's 70, about 79, close to 80 percentile right there. That's very excellent, actually, considering defensive duels per 90 is down, certainly because he's not engaging in that many, but the few that he does, he certainly wins. Aerial duels 64%. That's pretty decent considering his height, and he's not exactly an overbearing frame out there. But then you look at the other skills where it comes to passing and it comes to actual dangerous passes that he creates per 97 percentile dangerous passing, or the dribbles per pass, dribbles per 90 and the likes, all in the top 80 to 90 percentiles. Excellent attributes to come this way. So we're all looking forward to that as well. All right, my friends and family out there.
I just wanted to add to KJ's what he's wrote there about Slot already said Szoboszlai will play more as an 8 this upcoming season. For me, Sabotzola needs to sort his I wouldn't say life out, but his game out. Like he's grew up in the era where it weren't I support Bayern Munich or I support Leverkusen. I support Cristiano Ronaldo, and there's a lot of people like that, and he's one of them guys, bro. He loves the like he was bigging up Trent for going to Real Madrid yesterday on his Instagram and shit like that. Like this guy's one of them guys, bro. He's I want to say fanboy footballer. Like for me, I can't really. If I was playing the professional game, yeah, I would respect older players and stuff like that. I get that, but he's probably like a big fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, bro. Does he want the limelight? Like for me, I don't know. I was sort of a fan of Sabotzola when he was in Germany at Leipzig. I was like, you know what, this guy can play, good little player. But certain things about him, man. I don't think he was great this season. He was okay, but he wasn't great. But he ran a lot.
Yeah, certainly did. And speaking of someone that runs a lot, but actually does bring, a lot back as well, other than just running. That is Operation Luis Diaz is apparently unveiled and underway by Barcelona. Barca's bold ambition is what we would call it. Now, because this is from a massive in player to a possible out player. Luis Diaz has reportedly put his heart set on joining Barcelona after 3.5, I consider, incredible seasons. 17 goals and 8 assists last year is what he ended up contributing all competitions. He's still not received a contract renewal or an extension, more so. He's not. And the arrival of Wirtz could spell the end of Diaz's time as a guaranteed starter, because it was a case with this coach that he does obviously prefer or like Cody Gakpo being in the team or being a part of that starting 11. Cody's not most likely. It looks like he's not going to be playing a false 9 or a 9 for us in this starting 11. So he has placed him on the left. But Luis Diaz is such an integral part of this team and such a dynamic player that this coach has to find a role for him and has made him our number 9. So Liverpool want a reported 51 million. I've heard that number is higher than just even that for him. Barcelona don't want to pay that much, but that hasn't stopped them from pushing the emotional goodbye post from Diaz's partner. I don't know if they're married or not, but from Diaz's partner was not subtle. And make no mistake, Diaz is beloved by the Anfield crowd. I'm sure Norm can tell you that. Some of the others in our chat that go to the games regularly. But sentiment doesn't always equal a squad role. I understand that completely. So think about it. Suarez, Coutinho, Mascherano, now Diaz, all looking to move on and move to a team in Spain called Barcelona. So Barcelona is trying to raid us. But if this is goodbye, it feels different. It feels respectful. Diaz hasn't demanded a move. He hasn't simply let his contract run out. And he's simply reading the signs, and Barcelona even broke Barcelona, all due respect, remain a dream for many South American players. There was something that I did read, which was very interesting, because what was written, or there was this article written, it might have been in the BBC, I'm not positive or not, but there was a Spanish football expert. His name is Guillem Balague. Guillem Balague, who added a major dose of realism this week. And let me read this quote for you. He said, "It would be impossible for Barcelona to sign Luis Diaz because they do not have the finances. Liverpool my brethren's photo here, so everyone knows what we're talking about. Liverpool have no interest in selling, but they also have no interest in renewing his contract. Diaz's agent is friends with Deco and Barca like him. They'll likely bid 40 to 60 million euros, but Liverpool will say if Bruno Fernandes is 100 million pounds, so is Diaz.
Well, you mentioned the word ambition before. Go on, finish it off.
Yeah, let me just the end of the quote. And Barcelona just can't afford that. They need financial approvals to even raise 60 million euros. In his words, he's saying he thinks it's impossible. But so let's call this what it is: flirtation, not confirmation. Diaz might admire Barca. Barca might admire Diaz, but admiration doesn't pay the 51 million. That said, let's not downplay what Diaz has meant. He's been a spark plug under multiple managers, won titles, played through grief, has rehabbed, worked endlessly to get back on the pitch, always wore the badge with intensity. If he does leave, it'll hurt me a lot, but it'll hurt others as well. But thanks to Wirtz's arrival and the reshuffle underway, it won't break us, but it will certainly hurt us in ways that people will notice if we don't find the proper creative outlets to replace him. So let's be honest. Would letting Diaz go for 51 million be savvy business or a sentimental mistake? I'll let you answer that one, Lee, first.
What I would say, you mentioned the word ambition before, and Brian Mbeumo's definitely shown some by picking a Champions League side and following Frank to Spurs, isn't he, instead of United? So he has literally shown some ambition there, hasn't he? The question was, how much for Núñez was it?
No, I said, would letting Diaz go for 51 million pounds be savvy business or a sentimental mistake?
For Diaz,
maybe a sentimental mistake. Oh, sorry.
I think I think it'd be a wise move to take that. Then if he's only got whatever he's got left, and he's 28, is he now? Yeah, 50 million's a lot of money, isn't it? We could be fresh somewhere else. Wirtz could play out there as a possibility instead of Gakpo, and I'm sure he will. He'll play in a few positions, Wirtz.
Okay.
So we might not necessarily replace Diaz if we sold him.
So which one are you going with? Savvy business, or would that be a mistake?
Savvy business, because 50, if it's pounds, over 50 million pounds is a lot of money, I suppose. Or is it these days?
It's really not. But okay.
It's not.
I don't think it is in this market, but I get what you're saying. Well, how about for you, JK? What would you say?
Like the whole Diaz thing, bro. It's one topic I don't want to go into next season talking about. Him and Kanate, for example, contracts, this, that, and the other. I think that sort of it just settles the whole club, you know what I mean? Look at last season, bro. It's probably one of the worst seasons as a Liverpool fan that I've had regarding players leaving, contracts, this, that, and the other. Didn't really need it. We won the league by having that headache. But hey, I don't really want to see that sort of stuff next season. For me, Diaz, because me and you had enough chats about that, lad. And for me, it's all about the wages. Like when you're getting 50 grand a week for a number of years, and he puts a proper graft in, you know what I mean? He ain't just like hanging around being on the subs bench. Comes on now and again, and that with like a lot of our players who are on good wages. Chiesa's on about 150, 160. And you look at the work rate of Diaz, bro, that deserves, for me, 120, 30 grand. And he ain't going to really get that at Liverpool, bro. And for me, hence why I have no bad feeling for him to leave. And this Barcelona thing's been going on for a while now. So I don't... If it's hard to say, I always say this. If a player... It doesn't matter if you keep a player. If you don't really want to play there and wants to go somewhere else, it's not really a good thing for the club.
Let me just interject one thing, though. He has come out and said that he will happily play out his contract for Liverpool if that's the direction that the team goes with. So
okay, so he said that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what else are you going to do? Walk out?
Yeah, what can he say, bro? You know,
He's
for
under
me, I
contract.
understand Diaz.
That's like saying I'll honor my contract.
Yeah, he could do. I mean, like you guys are definitely being a little disingenuous. There's players that if they don't want to be there, they'll have.
No, but I'm just saying. No, he's
come out and
literally
say they
laid
don't
all
want
the
to.
options. I'll leave if they get the price. But no, he just said if they don't want to offer me a new contract, I'll stay on the contract that I'm on. Because that's pretty much how it's going.
Right, he wants a new contract, but he's like, look, the team doesn't want
staying on the contract that he is. If he can't, then that's just how it's going to work.
Again,
yeah, but they should up his contract. You know what I mean? If he's going to stay 2 years more, for me, put an extra 50 grand on top. You know what I mean? Come on, man. He ain't a lazy guy, bro. He gives 100%, and that's why, for me, money is what is money to us is nothing, bro.
What is money?
Really look at it. But when you're getting paid 50 grand, when you're getting paid,
lazy players, right?
I know.
No, I'm just saying, like,
Daddy
when you're getting paid 50 grand, bro, and you're looking at other people getting paid 350, 300, your wife's going to do your fucking head in. And hence why she'd put that.
We've been down this road. We've been down this road 1,000 times. Everyone knows he's underpaid.
He's underpaid, bro. And that's what it is. That's all it is for me. He's underpaid, and I understand that coming from his point of view. Hence why.
Yeah, but he also wants to play for his dream club. His dream club is Barca.
If that's his dream club as well, that's the way it is. And for me, it'll kill two birds with one stone. We'll get a fee.
Yeah, but they're out there doing the whole PR thing. We want him, Operation Luis Diaz, Flick and Deck and one and blah, blah, blah. We'll go and just make a fucking bid for him. Stop flirting in front of him. Stop showing a bit of leg. He's our player. He's not your player. If you want to make him his dream move, make a fucking bid. Stop coming out there with these stupid little statements in the press. You know, or they're trying to throw us under bus now, saying that we made him we made an agreement he could leave for 60. Now we're upping the price to 80. They're throwing all these shots. Like, he wants to join Barca. We're happy to sell him if we get a certain amount of money, and you want to buy him, and you're telling everyone. So it's up to Barca to just make the bid. Barca can make all this.
80, we're sort of outpricing these teams, bro. Diaz is never worth 80 million. If we get 51,
but they know the price. I mean, they're out there trying all these stupid tactics and trying to unsettle our people. Do it. Just stop making moves in the press. Actually make a genuine bid. And then you can have your player. He gets his move, you get your player, we get our money, we move on. But they're just out there now starting all this media bullshit where it's like, we all know if it's Barcelona going to try and get in 67 installments and, you know, pay it over 10 years and they'll drag it out. We're just saying, look, if you want the player, come give us the money and the player can go. But Barcelona
was 100 for Coutinho still, you know what I mean, bro? So
that's because they had the PSG cash. You know, fuck them. They're just trying everything to unsettle Diaz and create a big thing because they're Barcelona. Just pay the money and take the player.
This is why I get exactly what you and JK are both saying. However, where I don't agree, or at least where I'm trying to be at least transparent with it, I like the player, obviously. But when it comes to Barcelona, we all know that Barcelona's financial issues. We also know, how not only Barcelona does consider themselves at least to be Real Madrid's, not only rival, but to be on the same level as a Real Madrid. Barcelona knows that there's one way they're going to be able to possibly get this player, and that is to have to continue to do this, talking in the press and having coaches come out and say how much they like this player and how much they would like. They know that they have to do what basically the underhanded tactics, okay?
That's the point I was trying to make.
To get this player.
Yeah, that was the point I was trying to make when I was saying about telling them to come out and make a bid. That's what I was trying to make, because they don't have the balls. They don't have the money. They're doing all this fake shit.
Right.
That's what. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you because it's all bluff.
Yeah,
Listen,
it's all bluff. It's all total bluff from Barca. They don't have the money to make this deal happen.
They've got the
money to try and create a load of drama. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm calling about. Saying, make your bid, because I know they won't. They don't have it. They don't have it. If we said to Barcelona tomorrow, okay, you got 24 hours, it's 62 minutes, they wouldn't have it. So now they're trying to create.
Also, that's what I'm saying about the Diaz thing. It's just unnecessary.
They're going to buy Williams, and they've already put in bids for Williams. They're going to buy Williams.
That's what I think.
It's not even that, bro. It's nearly a here we go already. So it's nearly seriously. It's already that. Listen, this guy wants to go to Barcelona, and I know what Brian's saying as well. Obviously, we touched on this on his show earlier on. Barcelona. He wants to go Barcelona at some point. If he sees off his contract, then he's free to go wherever he wants. How long is his contract? Has he got left in his contract?
He's got two more years.
2 more years. He's 31.
Right. So essentially, he'll be around what? 20? What was he now? 28, right?
31 at the time.
He'll be 31 in 2 years.
And then he's on a relatively low wage anyway. I don't know if Liverpool are really going to re-sign him, or if they're not going to do that. If they're not going to sign him, then it's going to be a bit silly, because the thing is, he's still valued. He's still worth something. But,
right. So wait. Go finish your statement. I have a retort. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think personally, I don't see Barcelona doing anything this summer in terms of getting him, because I think they do have issues with finances and stuff like that. The fact that they're going to go and hit Nico Williams, his transfer clause or whatever, then I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to have him and Yamal, two young, fresh Spanish internationals in their team. Diaz, I think maybe if he does go, he goes maybe at the end of the season. It's up to Liverpool if they really want to force him out. Then they might just say, look, you're under contract. We're not going to renew it. You're not going to play, or you are going to play, or whatever. And it's up to Diaz. And if you said Diaz is just like, he's quite happy to just see off his contract, then, we can expect Diaz for another 2 years. If not, they might potentially let him go to Saudi Arabia or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, we've put the ball back in Barca's court by saying, you can have him, but for a price. So, but the thing is, like Brian was saying earlier, they're going to mess us around, aren't they? It'd be better a deal to Saudi, but he wouldn't go, would he? He wants Barca and only Barca.
It's not only that, though. Look, I mean, we're a club. I can remind some of those in the chat too, that this is a club, Barcelona, that we did a major deal with. Yet we had to almost call creditors to get our money from. Okay, so we know what we're dealing with when it comes to how Barcelona is going to have to structure any type of transfer for a player that is in this market worth 70 to 80 million pounds. So why we would want to do some cut rate deal for Barcelona is beyond me. If anything,
money 12.
I think. Oh, I was just going to finalize it. That there was a statement in the chat. I think it's from Hylor, who spoke on about this might be more of a flare going up to Saudi Arabia, saying, "We saw what you did. We saw what you priced Bruno at. You want a player on that level? You want a player that's dynamic, that's younger, probably brings a little bit more flair and a little bit more of creativity to the league. Holler at us for $100 million for Lucho, and we'll make some type of acquisition for you." Lucho, I think, though, again, what's going to happen is you're going to have a situation where Saudi Arabia is not going to want to have a 2-year lease on paying $100 million or $80 million or whatever for a player that they're going to be able to barely hold on to for 2 years before he's saying, look, I'm 30 years old. I want to go to Barcelona. I've always wanted to go to Barcelona. I want to find my way out and somehow get there. Thank you for all the money. Thank you for all the riches. But I want to go to where
I wouldn't buy him after
my career is over and I'm unable to push.
The thing, 12, I think Barcelona, a couple of things I wanted to say. Barcelona, when people are talking about they don't have money, right? They've got money. because they have money because they've just given Yamal a big contract. Pedri and Gavi and these guys, they're future-proofing these guys and they're putting them on big wages. It's like they don't listen. So they do have money for the right deals. It's only them being, arsy with what they want. And the second point is, if Diaz does leave and he does go to Saudi, Barcelona won't sign him after that because his levels would have dropped dramatically. And Barcelona is still a big hitter in the UEFA, UEFA football. So he's not going to go to to Saudi Arabia and end up going to Barcelona after that. His levels just won't be. And plus he'll be at that age as well. There just won't be that possibility. I think essentially what is going to happen is this guy, they're going to try. They've tried Liverpool's hand by saying, listen, we want him. What can you say? What you're saying to us? And Liverpool have given a bid. They're not quite happy with that or whatever, or an offer, they're now looking at
happy with that. I'm saying we as even us fans should be. There's no way we should allow for him to go anything remotely under. I think 50 million is a low evaluation.
We got him for 35, didn't we? Near 35 to 40 million, roughly around that sort of price on a really, really cheap wages. Yeah, Liverpool, and you know what? I hear what JK is saying because the guy's a baller. You know what I mean? He works hard. He doesn't let us down and stuff like that. If you want to be critical, you can maybe argue about his outputs at previous seasons and stuff, but he's really played well here. The thing is, Liverpool are in their right minds to be like, well, you know what? We've got this guy on a cheap. You know what I mean? We're not going to give him another 3-4 year contract and top it up by giving him, like.
Well, he wants like 3 times what he's making almost. Pretty much.
Yeah, and I think
it's
Liverpool.
Reported that he wants. I read that it's reported that he wants which is understandable, and I'm not. I think he's deserving of it.
Yeah, 100%.
150,000 is what is being reported.
The problem we'll have is then if we give him a new contract, it's still you got to question it, because the thing is he does like Gakpo plays there as well, isn't it? And they're just going to be rotating between the two, and you can't have someone on 3 times the wages that he's getting, just sitting on a bench or rotating like that. I just don't think it will be anything that Liverpool are prepared to do. But if Liverpool are smart enough, they could easily say, you know what, we'll keep you or we'll sell you. And for me, like I said on Brian's show earlier on, and even here, I'm not too bothered. I think he's been brilliant for Liverpool, barring the injury that he got at Arsenal. That for me personally, kind of made his career a little bit slower. Yeah, I think he's been a great servant for Liverpool. He hasn't obviously brought in big numbers, but you know what? You get what you pay for, and I think he's done well in games for Liverpool. I think he's created. He's got the source. You need a player like that in your team, no matter who you are. Someone that can relieve pressure, carry the ball carry the ball, and every now and then chip in with an assist and a goal. But I think we do need to move on from him. And again, that's not disrespecting him as a player. It's what we were talking about on Brian's show earlier on. I think we got to look at our club now. If we're signing people like Wirtz, we might potentially buy a world-class striker or a centre-back or something like that. We need good quality players players that are going to do the job that is required of them. And if Diaz is doing the job that's required of him, then yeah, fine. But when you look at what he does, sometimes it's all right, you don't keep beating your man once or twice, you know what I mean? Just beat the guy, put a ball in, let someone slap it in or whatever, or just take that shot.
Okay.
And I think sometimes, and just finally,
his phrase there, but it got you. We get what you're saying.
Curtis Jones and Trent and all these players that people question, they've been instructed by their manager to play a certain way, and maybe this is what's happening over there. People look at Curtis Jones and say, "Oh, he holds the ball too much." I think he does, but he just does what he's told, and he don't care about what everyone says. Kopish, or all the other people that they're doing the job that they're told, and they get paid for that, and that's all they care. But yeah.
Well, this player was almost a Manchester City player. I guess almost is kind of stretching it, to tell you the truth, because he was the reason why Lucho was the reason why the deal fell apart, apparently, and that was reported that he was supposed to be included or asked to be included. Actually, wasn't supposed to be included. Was asked to be included by City as a way to get Julian Alvarez. Originally, before Alvarez went to Atletico Madrid, Julian Alvarez's agent came out and confirmed that story, and it is one that had Liverpool turn it down simply because they weren't interested in letting one of their key assets go. But at 55,000, it sounds horrible. It sounds what it is. Again, it was a 2-time increase in what he made in Portugal when he signed originally. It just so happens that
12. Sorry to cut you, but is he really a key asset when you consider that the player's been decent this season? Yeah. He's got 2 years left on his contract, and they don't want to give him the money that he's asking for.
I would say that key asset, unfortunately for him, in his ability to negotiate or bargain for a new deal or any type of raises in his deal. This is from an agent perspective as well. He unfortunately got injuries when those conversations should have happened.
Yeah, you're right.
And having those injuries put a question mark on the club as to, okay, maybe we will move on from you. Maybe we will find you a place to go to, but we're not going to give you an increase or extend give you increase in your salary or even an extend your deal if we're looking to move you on eventually. So at that point, it wasn't the most opportune time to ask them for an increase. Here's a player working his way back from not only one knee injury, but a second one that he recurred in the same year. And then he played marvelously. He absolutely put in the hard work. He's played as if he hasn't had any injury from before, and credit goes to him for that. Now, should FSG reward him? That's, again, it's about business. It's about business. It's like, it's interesting. People talk about ambition. They talk about, we should be savvy businessmen and the likes when it comes to negotiating or working with these players and their salaries and the likes. And like, sometimes people are like, just give them whatever they ask. And then other times people are like, oh, he's not worth it. So I think Lucho is a quality player right now. His market value is at 77.5 million pounds. That's what this market value is being touted as. Let's call it 80 just to make it easy, And again, I think that he's got 2 years, not 1 year, 2 years on his contract. If people want to get him, they need to pay the 80 million. They need to pay 80 million for him, in my opinion.
That's for me overpriced. He's a top player, but for me, I would put him in that 60. I would say 60 is sort of fair, considering he's 28, bro. If he was 26, it would be around that price. But for me, the whole Diaz topic, brother wants to earn more money. He's got 4 or 5 years left in his game, and he wants to get a better contract. And that's the basis of why I think this noise is all coming from. Of course, he wants to play for Barcelona. That's another thing. But for me,
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to ask you this. This is why I think that I'm going to say this. And JK has an incredible respect for Lucho. I'm not disputing that at all. But this is why I think sometimes when I get into conversations with people about Lucho and about the business end portions of it, especially, if you were to look at transfer market, I know transfer market could be either here or there. It's not the Bible when it comes to market values, but it's at least some type of resource that we can utilize. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Left wingers in the world. Vinicius Jr., 200 million euros.
Wow.
That's what his market value is. Number 1 in the world, transfer market. So I'm just this going off of what transfer market is saying. However, Lucho is number 2 ranked left winger market value in the world. You don't take someone who's a left winger and has the second highest market value in the world, and then say, I'm going to give you a cut rate for him. You utilize the price that you have for your asset and you move. Liverpool has already shown the fact that if you don't want to pay that price, we're going to utilize our asset to be an asset on the pitch for us for the next 2 years. I can appreciate that. Do I want to get 85 million for him? Fantastic. You want to make me move out of my house? Pay me to make me move. Otherwise, keep it moving. Because I'm not giving you, this is not a bargain basement sale. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, they know they can buy him.
You're not wrong at all.
You guys both said something at the same time. Sorry. What'd you say, Baz?
I said you're not wrong. I mean, your analogy on that is it's not wrong. He had a brilliant season last year. Maybe this year, if he doesn't go, or if there's anything that happens in a January potentially, because Barcelona could lose players like through injuries and stuff like that. That's possible.
Barcelona has the second. Barcelona, Rafinha is ranked right behind him at 80 million.
Right, exactly.
Kvaratskhelia is ranked right behind him at 80 million. But once again, let me say, above them is Lucho. And if I'm rating him and I'm getting money for him, I'm going to want what you would have paid for those players.
You're right. The only issue that I have personally is, we've gotten rid of players over years, like injury prone, granted, on a free, we've let them go. I think if he's that much of a valuable asset, and if he still carries on the way he does, if he carries on next year with the same sort of stats and stuff like that, and the year after, you're going to let this guy go for free? That's a little bit. Yeah. I get what Liverpool are doing; they're saving money and stuff like that. But essentially, they're going to have to go and replace him when his contract.
What are you going to get for? What are you going to get for? What are you going to get for a player at 29 going on 30? Okay, with 1 year left on his deal.
Well, I mean, we're definitely going
to. What
are
are you going to get? You're going to get the same thing you got for Sadio Mane, if you're lucky.
Yeah, there's that. But you know what? Some would argue Sadio Mane was becoming burnt out.
Diaz. Hey, I didn't say that. Write all your letters to Baz.
No.
Write all your letters.
12. I'm not saying you. I'm just
I know. I'm making sure.
I know. And listen, Sadio Mane. Okay, listen. In my opinion, wasn't really burnt out in that, but they negotiated a deal with Bayern Munich, and they got the player. Some would argue with their relations with when it came to Thiago and stuff like that. It was a sweetener. I don't know, but the fact is, Diaz is a good player. He's a really good player, and he will go to any team. He gets into every Premier League team. Yeah. But I just don't like the idea of just letting him go like that if he means that much to you, because they clearly do. I mean, there's got to be room for negotiation. I don't think Diaz is that kind. I think Diaz has said that he wants to go and play for Barcelona at some point in his life. But if that doesn't come, then where is he going to want to go? There is no other better team than Liverpool. He will take the pay cut, or he will take not pay cut, but he won't be demanding the 250 if that's alleged that he's asking for. He'll probably say, look, you know what? Give me another couple of years. And I think if he's improved, if he's still as good as what what he's doing, then you've got to keep him. Because like you said, when you look at wingers out there, when we talk about strikers, there's not many very number 9s around nowadays. It's the same thing with Diaz and wingers that can play like this. So it's a strange one.
I swear, sometimes I call them Joni Mitchell fans, Joni Mitchell football fans, because you don't know what you got till it's gone. But let's move on here. Speaking of
percentage-wise, I'm more inclined to believe that we'll keep Diaz because Barcelona won't offer us what we want. I'm more on the side of that being the outcome of this summer. But they know what they've got to do, don't they? They know what they've got to do. Just make us a bid that doesn't take the mickey.
There you go. Dang. That's how you do it. Yeah, for sure. We'll let Lee have the last word on that, and move on to something that I think is a more pressing issue for us, and that is trying to find possibly a player for our center half role, especially with the uncertainty of another player working for an extension to his deal in Konate, a player in Gomez that might be on the outs, a player in Quansah who's certainly uncertain to whether his future is going to lie here or elsewhere. So again, let's shift to the back line. While everyone talks about Wirtz and the forwards, Liverpool may be ready to spend on a center back. That center back that we're going to be possibly going after is Inácio. The Sporting Lisbon star has a £51 million release clause. It's kind of interesting that we're asking for $51 million for Lucho, by the way, and there's a £51 million release clause for Inácio. Just happens to be that way, I think. Maybe, who knows? Coincidence. But he's being tracked by United. He's being tracked by Newcastle, and now Liverpool have entered the race. His profile, left-footed, excellent in build-up, very press resistant. Exactly the sort of player who could possibly succeed Virgil van Dijk on this back line. Certainly could complement him as being a player that could at least give him some type of relief in not having to play the amount of minutes that he does. But here's the twist: Bayern Leverkusen, yes, Bayern Leverkusen. They said he wants Jarell Quansah. The 21-year-old has had a breakout campaign, and now Ten Hag, newly appointed at Leverkusen, is keen on building around this player. This creates a little bit of dilemma. Do you cash in on Quansah with his stock while his stock is high and upgrade to Inácio, or do you keep Quansah and trust his trajectory? Meanwhile, Joe Gomez has repeatedly been offered to Newcastle and Sunderland. Depth is changing on this team. The core is certainly shifting, and Slot clearly wants more control from the back. I'm going to ask the panel. I'll ask you in the chat too. Would you rather keep Quansah and continue to develop him, or sell him and sign Inácio now? I'll ask that of Brian first. We'll just go straight from left to right. We'll start with Brian, though. Well, Brian's on mute. I'll ask Baz to start us off.
How old is Inácio?
I'll get you. Let me get his player profile here. Gonçalo Inácio is 23 years old.
23. And Quansah's what, 2021, something like that?
I can tell you in a second. I'll do the player comparison for myself here. 22.
22. I mean, there's a big difference between their developments. You would argue, like, obviously Quansah is not a starter, so that's why he's not getting chance to improve like dramatically. You know what I mean? Someone like Inácio starts day in, day out for his current club. The thing is, it's acceleration, isn't it? I personally, I don't know. When I look at Quansah, I don't know if Liverpool rate him that high or this manager rates him that high. I mean, you even notice, like, he's been playing right back. He was playing right back at some point as well last season. All right, granted, it might be through injuries or whatever we've got and stuff like that, and he's had to play there and that. But when I look at him, I don't know, and I feel bad saying this, all right, but I don't rate him. I really don't rate him.
Okay.
The reason why I don't rate him is I think he does make some real silly mistakes, and at big games, and it reminds me sometimes of like goalkeepers that we've had over the years that have been good goalkeepers, but in big games they make big mistakes, and then you look at, you don't get games again, or he's sitting on a bench and he's sulking and stuff like that. It could be so many reasons. I don't know if it's sulking. It could be because maybe he's got things on his mind. I don't know. Obviously we're not him, but I am more tempted to like let him go for that. If they ask, if we can get a good price for him, I would say, you know what, sell him. and bring in someone like Inácio, or I prefer Hato personally, but you know, that's we're not obviously talking about that one. But I would probably let him go. I would probably let him go for a good amount of money and then get an established one. Yeah, that's what I'd think. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. I see KJ saying, he's still saying we want 70. Some of the questions. This is about the subject we just had. Diaz was one of our best strikers last season, and so versatile. Our hope is to sell Núñez, but we can't find a striker good enough out there to buy. And we want 70 to 80 million this summer. Barcelona have said they won't pay more than 55 max. He thinks we let go for Diaz at 55 to 65 million next summer. Okay. And Bernie to this conversation. Welcome to the show, Bernie. I see her on mute, but welcome to the show.
Hi, Charles. Sorry I'm late.
No worries. Got to know you got things. You're a busy lady, and I understand that. You know. Well, we are talking about Inácio, the player that we might be going in for. I asked the question. Baz just gave me his answer. So you want to keep Quansah, or let me make sure. Quansah keep, or you're going to sell him?
I would sell him.
Okay. So, Lady B, we're asking the question: would you rather keep Quansah and develop him, or sell and sign the player that we're apparently looking at going in for, and that is Inácio, who plays for Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah, I can't talk on this one because I don't know the player, Troll. So
Okay.
I do like Quansah, to be honest with you. I do think, but I'm saying that, you know, he's also got a few flaws. So if there was a better player, I would definitely go for him. But I don't know the player you're talking about.
Okay. I'll ask JK then, and then ask Lee then.
Look, for me, bro, I'm a fan of Quansah. I think until that first half of that Ipswich game last season, Quansah was put on a pedestal like he's the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, his career went from like Las Vegas to, I don't know, Limmer City. That's not great. You know what I mean?
Right,
it was just like
Manchester.
Okay, we'll go there, Manchester then. And that's for me the Quansah story, bro.
He's different between old Vegas Strip and New Vegas Strip. How about that?
Okay, let's go like that. He's like that, you know, and he's thinking, you know what? 3 years ago, I could never imagine I'm playing next to Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool Football Club, bro. So he's hit the heights, and I think he's done pretty well with it. When he first came on the scene, I was like, yo, this guy's mature. He had Klopp, who brought him in, and I think when you look at Slot and Klopp looks like the guy you would probably give him a hug and say, hey, lad, do it like this or do it like that. We didn't know what Slot's saying to this lad, you know. But going by that first game of last season, it was a big, like, lad, sit your ass back down. You're just not good enough for this game today. And that sort of ruined his whole season for me. You remember we all on about the stroppy faces. I'm not a big fan of them in the club. And he had one, bruv. And I was like, uh-oh. And it sort of continued, and then all of a sudden he started celebrating the goals again. You know what I mean? So that was a big kick in his ass. And I think someone needs to have a good word with him and say, listen, lad, the sky's the limit for you, or playing non-league in 2 years. It's your choice. I think a lot of people don't understand that football isn't just the physical, it's the mental. Yeah. And the mental has a big effect on lads from England. Hence why there's never a best player in the world, an English guy. What is it? Why? Because I don't think they look after them when they're at that age of where they're getting the big dough. As soon as the big cash starts rolling in, football takes the back seat. You know, so it's a weird cycle. They're fucking up the thing that's actually paying them to have that good time they're having. So it's like a cycle. But in the long run, that contract ain't gonna get any bigger. You know what I mean? So that's why, for me, Quansah needs to be sort of looked after, man. I don't like this sort of attitude. He's a youth player and he's a man now. I think Bradley's a very sharp lad. He just gets on with it. And I think that kick in the backside Quansah had last season might benefit him in the future. but it didn't benefit him last season after having a sort of good start with Klopp. I would never sell him. I think I'm giving him next season for sure. To maybe sit down this summer and realize what happened last season with his career. Did he go uphill or downhill? He actually went downhill. So he's going to look at it and think, okay, what can I do better? How can I be maybe Van Dijk replacement in the future if I really want it? And that's the thing. I've seen qualities in the lad to say, yeah, he can reach a top level. It's all down to him, bro. At the end of the day, But the club can help him.
Jackie, do you think as well, with Quansah, you're saying it's more mental, because physically he can do it, can't he? He's very skilled and that. But do you think, because I think, for a defender, he looks timid. He doesn't look, although he's got the skills to stop the attack. You look at him and you start thinking, well, has he got the confidence to stop it, or does he hold back a bit? Could he throw himself in a bit more passionate? And that's down to, that should be down to the club building his confidence, really. He shouldn't be left to swing in the wind because he had a bad game and it left his confidence and everything else. Somebody should be working on that for him to get that back.
Do you know what? Sorry, quickly, JK, I just want to add something on this, yeah? Do you know, I might sound very heartless, but you know what? He's had bad games, and players have had bad games for Liverpool, but they've come up. And I think what JK was saying was true. He's a great player. He's got huge potential. But the thing is, all right, we're at a different era now, innit? Whereas we don't have Klopp anymore. It is what it is. We've moved on. And you know that he's a kind of player that does need an arm around him for sure. And I don't think Slot is that kind of guy. And I think if he's not that kind of guy, his career will only go downhill from here at Liverpool. And that's what is the same. And that's why I don't mean to be heartless in that. I'm actually caring in another way, thinking, you know what, if you go somewhere where you get the right manager for you, you become a great player. But I think this is a ruthless club now, isn't it? In the sense that we are allowed to be ruthless now because we've won the league. We want to dominate. We're proving. We're trying to bring in players to show people what we're about. And does he sound like a passenger in a team that needs special needs? Again, I'm not disrespecting anyone with special needs or anything, but a special needed player that needs that. Because, like you said, Bradley, he just comes in and just gets on with it. You know what I mean? And that's what we need. We don't need that. And at 23 years old, he's not young that no more, is he? If he's 23.
No, but Baz, even Stevie G said he was the type of player that needed an arm around his shoulder. And look how good he was. All I'm saying is you don't want to baby them or nanny them, and that they've got to be, they've got to have that passion and power, haven't they, to force themselves through and make that position their own. But all I'm saying is, like, Gary McAllister helped Stevie G to become what he was, and Stevie Highway. They built him up so he felt he was supreme in the end. Is Quansah that guy? We don't know if Quansah is that guy or not.
Do you know what? So I get what you're saying, and you're right. But you know what? He's, like you said, the timidness. I mean, you can see a lot by someone's body language, the way he's on the bench, and the way even at the last game of the season. The last game of the season where the players were the game had been finished and everyone's just clapping and holding the Premier League title and stuff like that. You look at him and he just seems like like Gerrard, for example. Yes, I mean, you do need people to motivate you, but he's got the greatest motivators there. He's got Van Dijk, he's got Ibu. When you look at inside Liverpool, they're a good bunch of lads. I just think Steven Gerrard, though, Steven Gerrard, straight away he's got that bottle, he's got that thing, and I think and I don't think Quansah's got that, and unfortunately, that's a big trait to become a big player. You need that, and I don't think he has. He's got all the potentials to be a great player. I just don't think at Liverpool, though.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But, bro, when you look at his passing, improved. His dribbling from the back, improved. So them two things improved last season. I've seen it in him. Like every player, bro, consistency in game time. We're at a club now where Arne Slot lost his first 11. with Klopp, it was a bit different. Bombay mix now and again, you know what I mean, bro? And and what it was, it's a lot of guys got hurt, bro. And that's one thing I wasn't a big fan of Slot's first season with us. I think he could have done it. He could have kept the players more sweet. I've seen too many fucking faces, stroppy and that, and I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, we won the league, happy, but the bigger picture being, I want next season not to have these little quarrels and little, oh yeah, Quansah could have played better from the manager and stuff like that. You know, them little comments he drops in now and again. I don't want none of that information going out. Whatever happens to Quansah not playing the second half against Ipswich is between you and him. You know what I mean? And that strop on that face didn't look like it went well. And that can destroy a player. But and the thing is, Baz, before that incident, before that game, mans were calling him VVQ. So we've seen something in him. It's a bit of a mad one, but hey, we've seen something in him to give sort of similarities between the two and that. But for me, it's a mental thing. Concentrate on football. Konate's got the same problem as Quansah, concentration levels. I think playing next to a Van Dijk, it can sort of intimidate you. When you want to be the leader and you got him next to you, you're thinking, ooh, you know, I've got to be pick perfect and that. And it can be hard for them, bro. I know it seems like easier. Yeah, playing next to Van Dijk, it seems easier. But you've got that sort of responsibility of keeping it up to that same sort of level as him.
You're right, 100%. Because the thing is, you know what? One thing when you're obviously watching football and that, you're hearing Van Dijk shouting and screaming all the time. Every game, Van Dijk is you can tell he's a leader. He's the alpha male in all of this. So they've got to work really hard. You know what I mean? And you know, but I just look at him and I think, like I said, it's not the player personally. I think he's got great attributes, and I think he, you know, if someone can work on this guy's, you know, or not attitude, but you know, he's like get him a bit Stevie G, like a bit gritty or a bit, you know what? Let me just focus on this or whatever. Then you know what I mean. He will be brilliant. But I'm not gonna. I'll be real. I wasn't super impressed by him last year. I thought he's a good talent, but you know, I don't know. Like, you know, you can only reserve the rights of judgment like by watching him, and if you carry on, like if he played, let's just say he played well against Ipswich, and you know he didn't come off or whatever, and he just carried on, then it's just that trajectory, it's just that, you know, that consistency. But unfortunately, he fell. Whatever reasons be, you know, his performance, he's just not rated by the manager, or Konate was better than him. You need to, you know, you can't just show what you were, like you know, like you said, you can't show that you're so pissed off with it, or you just need to think, you know what, all right, fine.
It is what it is. Yeah,
it is what it is. Let me work on it. And that is an example of a great player.
True.
But he's young, like you said, you know, like people say. But then at the same time, when you look at, he's 23, in 2 years' time, he'll be in his mid-20s. You know, that's not young anymore, innit? You kind of need to have the skills, but you also need to have the right attitude. And I think the attitude is what lets it down.
Do you think
exactly,
do you think he's worth another season, giving him a season to see whether he can come through, or do you think that we've progressed so far?
100%, Bernie. I think, look, I don't want to throw this guy down the toilet. You know what I mean? I just think personally, you know, people do deserve second chances. They need opportunities. And it's only 1 year. He's only been 1 year with this new manager, isn't it? So let's see what he's like next year. And if he's better and he improves, then great, because he costs us nothing, and we could always sell him for a profit if it doesn't work out. I'd be happy. But if we had to make a choice, like, listen, these guys want, you know, they want him, and in order to get him, we'll get another defender of a better quality, then I'm for that as well. Do you see what I mean? That's only if these rumors are true. If the rumors are not true, then I would say, you know what, keep him, give him another season, because we won't have a centre back less, wouldn't we? And on top of that, he's an England, you know, when you got to look at the England quota thing, he's British,
homegrown,
homegrown. So
and he's an English national, playing, getting call-ups to the English national team as well.
I think that would be good for him. Discipline. Discipline is important for players, and I think if he's got the discipline right,
Sorry,
cool.
I just saw something in the chat. I'm sorry.
Yeah, is that
that's
true?
No.
Oh, okay.
Edwards just left the club.
Edwards can't. Edwards isn't a part of the club.
Yeah, he heard Klopp's coming back. He's heard.
He runs all of the club / clubs when we start buying other clubs, or when FSG starts buying multiple clubs.
Do you remember the time?
Hold up. Sorry to cut you. I've just looked at this. Yeah, there is a little something about Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, there is.
No.
Yeah, I think you need to put this 12.
But for Edwards, yeah.
Michael Edwards agreed a deal to leave Liverpool. New reports suggest he's agreed a deal to leave his job with FSG and depart Liverpool once again. Saudi Arabian outlet Arabi Diva claims Michael Edwards agreed to join Al Hilal, the Saudi Pro League side. Reported to have made him an offer last month. It's only supposition. It's not.
No,
it'll be top.
I doubt. He's got shares with FSG though. With his deal,
I don't know, but I mean, obviously,
I'm sure if he were to leave Liverpool holding the bag, I'm sure that those shares would probably somehow
wouldn't surprise me, bro.
Find a way of going away as well.
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me. I think what's happened is he left Liverpool. FSG was like, damn, this guy's really good at his job. What we'll do, we'll offer him some shares in our company to get him back. Got him in, and he was there way before Klopp said he wants to go. He was way before that. He knew Klopp was going to leave.
I think this is more likely. I think this is probably more likely than him leaving. How about that?
But there is
there
is an addendum to this. It says, now we should add that this report appears to believe Edwards is currently unemployed. They run through his career history with Liverpool before saying he left the club and has rejected offers to return. That's certainly not true. Edwards did return to Anfield-bound in 2024. He accepted a job to be CEO of football for FSG. There's no mention in the report of that role, however. Naturally, that leaves us a little doubtful of its accuracy, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's just someone put it up there. I don't really believe anything. But then again, at the end of the day, it could be true because Edwards would leave. He's left once. Who says he won't do it again?
He's going there. He's going there. If there's Edwards is going there, and there's any reason why Edwards is going there, it's basically to go talk money about some of these players that the Diaz's or the Núñez's or whoever you have as being on the way out, and we're going to be making some big name deals. He's probably going there to talk to them in person and make the pitch.
Do you know what though? If he did go 12, yeah, what sort of guy is he? You know, he's been with us, he's left, he's come back, been offered all sorts, and then he's going to go again. You know, if that's the truth, I mean, this is why everybody jumps on the bandwagon and then the rumours start. But if it is true, you know, you wouldn't have a lot of thought for the guy. You'd just think, you know, he's like a mercenary.
Yeah, for me, that's for me, he's done. Like, K-Mac loves him as well. I know that. And I'm a big no. I'm like, come on. He couldn't work with Klopp. Like, for me, I think Klopp would probably be one of the easiest managers to work with. Compared to say Pep Guardiola, for example. You're working at Liverpool Football Club, there's going to be stress, Edwards, and you just got up and run away. Hence what I was saying, that FSG thought, well, this guy's great, we need him back, blah blah blah, and it sort of came in time where Klopp left and he walked straight back in. 2 days later, he walked in.
We shall see.
So for me, yeah, that's what I mean. People put 2 and 2 together and get 7.
It could be rubbish, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be just going there to sort transfers out. God knows, you know what I mean?
You wouldn't have thought he would have come back in this new role and then 12 months later or 18 months later down the line decide to go again.
Yeah, that's why for me, he
no. Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way. I'll say something that might be controversial, but I'll just say it just to get it out there. Look, if Edwards came back, and it's been reported that, you know, the Edwards came back and that's one of the reasons why Klopp possibly left. If Edwards were to come back and have any impact in Klopp leaving, and then the following year after Klopp leaves, he bounces himself, that would be some headline news. I would say that.
The thing is, I wouldn't put it past him. That's the thing. I wouldn't put it past him, bro.
I think that we're allowing some of these Twitter rumors possibly to impact ourselves in a sense. Oh, let's just wait a couple of days to get some confirmations on those reports. How about that before we start speculating? Because I don't know about that one. I think there's probably more likelihood that we sign Ashman. How about that? So,
have you signed Osman yet?
Yeah, as Norma's just said, there is something that really piqued my interest when I saw it. It was something that I wanted to talk to the chat and also you in on the panel as well. But before we do that, I wanted to actually, you know what? I'll talk about it now. I'll bring it now. Give me 1 second. Let me bring up this graphic so you can see what it is that I'm talking about, because it was interesting. It was pretty interesting that they pretty interesting numbers that I saw here. Hold on, let me bring it up here. And this is it. So this is on BBC, on the BBC Sport, and they gave a breakdown on. Make this larger for everyone to see. They gave a breakdown on the most subscriptions across social platforms in the Premier League. Manchester United, 233.6 million. Manchester City, 179.5 million. Liverpool, 166.7. Chelsea, 152.9. Arsenal, 114.1. Spurs at 108.1. And then it drops dramatically. These are all just for the Premier League teams, at least. Drops dramatically. West Ham, 19.1. Villa, 18.8. Newcastle 17.2, and Everton at 14.5 million. That's across all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X. I did see 179.5 million subscriptions for Manchester City. And it made me pause for a second, a little bit, to say, do we actually believe that number is accurate? Do you think that Manchester City, on the social platform settings, is the second largest club in the Premier League?
They can't even fill out their own stadiums.
Yeah, bro. Where they get these figures from, man?
It makes me really. I'm like, this is just allegedly, I guess you could say, so we don't get sued. I mean, you could easily say allegedly.
2 Manchester clubs at the
top. How many bots are included in that? Okay, because 179.5 million people subscribe. I think I've seen all of maybe 3 Manchester City content creators out there.
True.
There you go. It's not even a discussion.
Whenever there's any sort of something that gets released on Twitter or Instagram or anything like that about football, it's nearly always Liverpool fans that make the remarks and talk about it. You don't see. I mean, you know yourself, you hardly see anybody else make any comments about anything. So I would find that, I don't believe it, to be honest. And also, didn't Liverpool win some sort of award for the LFC site and the YouTube channel for having the most around the world? I'm sure they won last year.
On YouTube. I heard something about it. I'll have a quick look now how many subscribers them 2 teams have got on YouTube. Okay.
There's not enough interest in Man City for there to be more YouTube channels about them. There's only about 3, right? There was one I used to go on to see what they were talking about, and that, but I've forgotten its name. There's a couple, like the one that I used to look at, he was actually a Mancunian, he was from Manchester. The other ones weren't, like.
I just thought it was interesting to see that Manchester City, again, I can understand the 233.6 for Manchester United. Obviously, Manchester United having a tremendous world global fan base that they draw off of since the real emergence of their club during the 90s. And that was right around when internet was making a real big push. So, of course, yes, subscriptions would be that way for them, obviously. But that number. What also was kind of surprising. What also was kind of surprising was that Arsenal, a club that often,
everywhere
flexes their chest as if they are the biggest club in London, and that globally they have the largest fan base in the world when it comes to London-based teams. Yet they are well behind Chelsea in this list, and Spurs are nipping at their heels on this list as well.
Oh wow!
It's kind of interesting. I can bring up the number again. I bring up the graph.
Man United used to have the biggest fan base, didn't they? I don't know if they have with media, but they did sort of as fans. They were the biggest.
Yeah, it reached its peak some time ago, United, didn't it? And now it's like subsided a bit, like their popularity, but it's still massive. They are a massive club still.
Yeah, but when you look at the YouTube numbers, Liverpool got 11.4 million subscribers. United have got 10 million. Man City have got 5. That's not 5 million, 5 people. No, I'm joking. 8.49. 8.49 Man City. So we've got the most YouTube in the Prem. Actually, let me check Arsenal just in case.
I knew that because I've read that before.
Say it one more time, Bernie. I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear your comment. Bernie, can you repeat what you said?
Oh no, I'd read that before. 12 about Liverpool. It won some award, for having been the most successful YouTube channel. So I had seen that before.
I think
Arsenal have only got 4.75 million, bro, on YouTube. 4.67. So we've got nearly 3 times the amount. Like Liverpool. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mad. I thought Arsenal would have more than that. Mad.
And this is most subscriptions across all social platforms, by the way, not just YouTube, not just X, or Twitter. It's not just one. They're collecting. They've gone and collected all of their on Twitch, on whatever all the socials are, Facebook.
Mm-hmm. So
this is the collection of all of them.
When you look at the YouTube social platform, is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, when it comes to football and social media and stuff. If Liverpool are nearly 3 times the amount of City on that, just on YouTube, that numbers don't look correct to me, man.
This is BBC Sport, okay? Not me making up this number, okay? And when I saw that on there, I was very shocked and surprised to see that Manchester City were second in the Premier League when it comes to most subscriptions across social platforms. And I was very surprised also, like I said, when looking at how far ahead Chelsea is above Arsenal and how close Spurs are to Arsenal, considering that Arsenal have at least won some silverware in their recent history, as opposed to Spurs, who just won one of their first trophies in a long, long time. But again, yes, 108.1 for Spurs, 114.1 for Arsenal, 152.9 for Chelsea. So, according to this poll, Chelsea is close to Liverpool, but not in the top 3. But Chelsea makes London blue instead of red. So
City's the biggest surprise to me. Because I just can't believe it, to be honest with you. I do know. I did see something last week where they were saying, there's over 1 billion people in India, aren't there? And they reckon that Man United and Man City are the biggest. That's who they support. They've got a massive following there. So whether that's got anything to do with it,
maybe. Yeah, I'm not going to even comment on that one, Lee. All right. Anyways. It's a certain there's a certain Chelsea fan that he brought up. But what I am going to bring up is a certain accomplishment that we saw our Egyptian king get. This is like our moment of Zen, I guess you could call it. And that is Mohamed Salah has, obviously won both the leading goal scorer and also the leading assist maker in the Premier League. That is not an easy accomplishment. And he was only 2 assists away from breaking Henry's record. I was hoping he could do that. But still all the same, he's an incredible player. 29 goals, 18 assists. What was the biggest reflection of this year about Mohamed Salah for you, Lee? What's the one of the things that you remember the most about this season when it comes to Salah?
That he equalled the record for combined goals and assists with Shearer and Andy Cole. But he was a massive part of obviously the title win, wasn't he? He was in sensational form and was fit all season. And we romped home, didn't we, with him at the forefront of it. Like, we're hoping to see a striker now, aren't we? Like someone he can play with, like a replacement for Núñez. So we'll probably end up keeping Jota, won't we? But yeah, it was just a great season. If he can get anywhere near that tally of goals and assists again next season, that'd be brilliant. And I think he's still got it in him to have more big seasons. Like, definitely back him to score a lot next season. Anyway, okay. Don't know about predicting a number, but I think he will.
Okay. How about for you, JK?
It was for me, like equaling that record, like Lee just said. Shearer, I wish he just got one more, just to beat them all. That would have been top.
One more would have been nice, wouldn't it? So he's on his own.
Because I think at the end of the season, he sort of took his foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
With a lot of players did, but I think he could have smashed that record. But for me, all in all, bro, best player in the world for a part of the last season. He was the guy, you know what I mean? Very important. You could say he won us the title. You couldn't say that in a weird sort of way. He did his part anyway. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. You know what I mean? But What a player, bro. Top attitude, top disciplined, professional. And that's for me the perfect professional footballer. You do it like Salah does, you can have a good career. He could have lost it when he left Chelsea. He could have thought, you know what, sod it, I ain't going to do it no more, and end up at the German second division team or something. You don't know. But he turned it around, bro, and carried on. Same as De Bruyne. That's why rejection sometimes, when you're at a club and you get rejected, don't take it so personal. Just think, you know what, I'll show you. I think that's Salah's done that. I think his aim is to be the best in the world. And he has been for parts of this in his career with Liverpool. Top guy, man. Top guy.
Lady B, what would you like to say about our Egyptian king and these accomplishments that he made this year?
For me, it was the fact that it was all the hoo-ha over his contract, whether he was going to sign again, whether we were going to lose him. And he could go through all of that, in tunnel vision and just see the goals he'd set out for himself to achieve and the records he wanted to break. And to be able to turn out with a smile on his face every single game and just go for it, really, and keep all the white noise away from him, from himself, and just keep that concentration, to me, just showed just how good a player he is. I mean, he's like world class, isn't he? And I just thought then it would have been so easy for him to have thrown his dummy out the cot, and thought, they're not, I haven't got my contract, what's going on? I'm not going to play, I'm going to do this. But to have that temerity to be able to keep going and forge his way through and prove to everybody he was the best, that's what I take away from him. I think he's amazing.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's an incredible accomplishment. Obviously, again, I would have liked to see him to have broken that record. He's a record breaker. Every time he steps on the pitch, it seems like there's some new record that he's about to break or has already broken by even stepping on the pitch. So hopefully it continues. I think I do think that it's going to be interesting to see the amount of output that we get from him next year and what it's going to equate to for us in our success. Because obviously Florian Wirtz is going to relieve him of some of that burden of being one of the more creative sources of our outputs, our offensive outputs. And it should be an interesting future with him and Cody and maybe Lucho as well, and Wirtz all up front. And who knows going to be in that number 9 role for us, but we'll see. We shall certainly see. Well, so here we are, champions rebuilding. I like to say refortifying rather than rebuilding, to be honest with you. And hungrier than ever, it looks like, because we are going and getting players that continue to improve us. Friday the 13th wasn't just the day Wirtz chose us. It was the day the rest of the league realized that we're back to being the nightmare that we are on the pitch. Slot has a vision, Hughes has the execution, and Wirtz has the flair. So what comes next, depending on us making the right sacrifices and not being afraid to let go of players who no longer match the mission, it becomes an evolution in essence. And an evolution always starts with pressure. And I think that if anything, we've shown that we are made to withstand that pressure because we are all diamonds. So Red, I think you're a diamond at least. So I'm gonna let the panel give a goodbye or give a kind word about whatever they have on their dockets for their individual projects. Big up, by the way, to Anfield Irishman, and big up to Baz, who also joined us earlier. And I'll allow for Lady B to go first. Let ladies go first. So, Lady B, would you like to say anything to the audience?
Yeah, just thank you for coming in and supporting the channel. Most of them are friends because we see them a lot. We see them at every single time. And what a great day! We've been sweating over this. Well, not very ladylike. We've been perspiring over whether we're going to get Wirtz for so long. Well, 2 weeks possibly. And we've got him, and what a great day, because we've landed a huge fish for us. So that's all I've got to say. I'm really excited about it.
Okay. How about for you, JK? You got anything on the docket that you want to share?
It's that everyone in the chat, nice one for your comments and that. Love reading them, everyone's opinion and stuff. If you could press the like button, that'd be cool as well. Happy birthday to Alan Hansen. For me, him and Van Dijk, the best centre backs in the world. It was his birthday today, man. That's why I got his picture today, bro.
Oh,
yeah, he's a top player. He was. So happy birthday to him. Hope he's well. And exciting times for us fans. It's about time, we've been waiting for a long time to get like a major signing in, and this one's a beauty. I'm happy we broke the record as well. You know what I mean? All them years, Arsenal, Chelsea buying big players, and then looking at us thinking, look at these lot doing nothing, and all of a sudden we pull this one out of the bag. It's about time as well, so I'm happy about that. And yep, I'll catch you guys next time.
Okay. And Lee, last but not least.
Yeah, it is. It's such an exciting signing, isn't it? And you said yesterday, didn't you? It's like the same day that we bought John Barnes on all those years ago in '87. That could be a good omen, couldn't it? Like if Wirtz could have that sort of impact, if we can structure a team around him the way we did around Barnes to get the best out of him. Do that with Wirtz, and we'll be quids in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I agree with
It's been
Dara.
a good start, hasn't it? It's been a good start to the transfer window. 2 signings down, a few more to go, I think. Surely there'll be at least 3 more. I would say the left back, probably a midfielder and a centre half. We need a striker as well, though, don't we? I mean, we do need a number of players, don't we? It just remains to be seen, like what sort of money we bring in for the players that aren't going to play a part. On the subject of, you never asked me before about Quansah and Inácio. I wouldn't swap him, no, I wouldn't trade him in for Inácio. I don't think Inácio is that much better than him, that it would be a good idea. But I'd be open to the idea of signing a player like Inácio as well as Quansah, for Quansah to be staying, because he's coming along nicely, and he did well at the end of the season when he was put in. So keep him, but we also need an extra centre-back, so we've got more options. We need to be properly prepared this season to defend this title. And for me, we definitely need to buy a centre-back.
Okay. So you got a little bit of got Lee's insight on some of the topics we covered. Hopefully, if you're watching this on replay, you get a chance to see what it is, or if you just got this, you're just tuning in, hopefully you watch us back on replay. Shout out to the very, very good numbers that we had today in the chat. So big up to each and every one of you. And I hope that you tell a friend to join us. We shall certainly be back tomorrow. Big day I have a big day tomorrow, but still the same. This is a big part of my day. We're starting to get closer to the numbers where I can allocate even more time to what is one of not only my passions, but one of my loves in my life, and that is this team. So join us tomorrow. Be sure we'll have a great episode. Big up again to Lady B, big up to Lee, and big up to JK, and most of all as well, big up to you out there in the chat. Thank you for joining us. We will be back tomorrow. Up the Reds as always, and definitely take care.
Peace and Lante as well.
Oh, is Nolante with us?
No, he was. No, he didn't come. He was busy earlier. So, but if he's probably listening, if he is, peace up, bro.
Okay. Big up, Nolante. Shout out to Nolante. All right, people. We will see you soon. Take care.
Bye.